So if you've been watching my channel for long enough, you'll know when I'm filming down here, that means I got kicked out for my room, not kicked out of my room, but kicked out from upstairs because I was being too loud filming. Usually that's because I upload at like 10 o'clock, like I'm uploading, like recording at 10 o'clock or like late at night, like really late at night, but it's 8:15. It's like, I think what happened was, they had a long day, so they wanted to go to sleep early. Something like that. So I'm down here. So you know what really makes me mad? Not the fact that I got interrupted, not that, that's fine. No. The fact that I could have done this at 2 o'clock, but guess what came in at 6 o'clock? The last few books. So right now, okay, so first off, I need to gotta remind myself, I'm naming this something different. Not giving a graduation hall, that's lame. Not naming a comic hall, big, huge comic hall, that's kind of lame too. I'm naming it something different that's not comic hall. So, if you don't know, this is a comic hall. This is not like one of those YouTube channels where I go like, oh, a drama or whatever. Like, oh, you won't believe what this happened with this guy. So, no, this is a comic hall. But the reason why I'm calling it, I have to look up the title because I wrote it down. I don't know and the reason why I called it So This Happened is because of the fact that a lot of stuff happened with this comic hall. So, that's the only reason. If you want to stick around for that, you can stick around for that. Right now it's story time. So, first off, what happened with some of these books? So, at first, I was gonna get a set of 6 books, along with the 5 I already have. So, it's gonna be 11 books, all in one. And then I was going to get other books after when I got the okay to spend more money, because it was my graduation money, but I had to get it. My parents told me spending it all at once, which makes sense, even though I don't care. I wouldn't mind. But I had extra money to spend, so they were fine with me spending that at least, and I got some gift cards too. So I had gift cards and then that, so I was able to spend that, and then the graduation money I got that day, it was the next day. So it was 2 different days. That's important. Now, out of the 11 books, 5 of them were set in stone. I'm getting these. The 6 were like, I might get these. I was already on edge for these 6 of them, especially because 2 of them they had, even though it's an ongoing, 2 of them they had the library. The first 2 volumes at the library. It's an ongoing, so I don't really care when that happens. So I'm like, when I'm spending more than $10 for volume 1 already, I'm already kind of on edge about it. It was $13 rather than $10, but still. $3 extra. So it's already kind of on the fence about that. Even though it's by an author I like, it's still like, The second set of books was by an author that I kind of like. The series sounded interesting, but I only kind of liked the author. So I ended up canceling the books. Well, there's one that I was skeptical about. He also wrote, it's Brian Wood, it's DMZ. He wrote these 3 image books. He only had a few image books he did. So I was like, I'll get all those at once, at least. Turns out Black Road is a continuation, basically, of Northlanders. I am not going to be spending $16 per digital volume of Northlanders on top of getting that other stuff. I don't like getting Kindle books in general, unless I absolutely have to, or it's on sale. On sale, I'll be fine with that. If it was Northlanders were like 1, 2, and 3 were on super sale, $2.99 per pop, I'd be like, okay, fine, I'll get that in Black Road, perfect. But Brian Wood is also an author that I already kind of like. He's all right, but I'm not gonna spend this much money on him. It was books I was kind of like, I was majorly on the fence. Like, some of these are on the fence, but this was major on the fence. Then when I found out that, like, I only needed that. When I found out it was, like, basically a continuation of Northlanders, I'm like, no, not getting it. I don't care. I don't care if later down the line I'll get Northlanders. When I get Northlanders, then I'll get the Black Road and the other one that he did for Image. But at that point, I was like, no. I want to get other books anyway, so I canceled the order. And it was way too soon, even though it wasn't that long after I ordered it, I canceled it. They were like, yeah, we gotta ship these books out, sorry. And I'm like, okay. Okay, now listen to me, Amazon. Is that because of the fact that they're coming from, because it's 2-day shipping, that means they're coming from, like, Highland, California. Because California, they need to do it early, so it gets to your place in 2 days. That's what you mean, right, Amazon? They're like, yeah, sure. That's what we mean. I'm like, okay. That'd be worth it because I'm not sure if I actually cancel it. It said we may cancel it. That ain't shipped. Even though it said canceled. So it did was track your package, and I hit track your package, and then was like, oh, your thing has been canceled. Well, yes, you a refund. I'm like, okay, that better be good doing. Even though it shipped. Then it started going to facilities, and I was like, okay, now why is this one at a facility, but this one isn't? You want to explain that to me, Amazon? And they're like, yeah, that might be because it could have been 1 day shipping, but we're doing 2 day shipping now. Because of Prime Day. And I'm like, okay, Prime Day makes sense. Prime Day, there's a lot of orders to do because, sale on sales and all that stuff. So you're getting prepared. That's very nice. It's very noble of you, Amazon. You want to actually be nice to to everyone in general. Because like the people that are delivering the package, the package handlers, and everything like that. Okay, that's nice, Amazon. You're being nice for once. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Now, I canceled these at 6 in the morning because I woke up. I was up pretty much all night worrying that it didn't get canceled. They didn't at first. And then I honestly forget how the whole entire thing, not the whole entire thing, but most of what happened. But I was like, okay. That means that they got canceled. It's done 6 o'clock and it's been almost 12 hours. That means it canceled it, right? The ones that are going to the Massachusetts one, they'll have to go all the way to Massachusetts. Not all the way because it's the one there. It's because sometimes I feel like sometimes they don't have it in the Massachusetts stock. They have it in the California stock. It makes no sense, but that's Amazon for you. Because they should have it like it doesn't. And then that doesn't make sense to me. It's kind of weird to me. Anyways, it was like okay. That's what that means, right? Because you can't cancel it, right? I'm like, yeah, we already shipped it. Why? Why should I ship it? I said cancel. Cancel, not ship. And now it's saying, oh yeah, we'll issue you the refund. Check your package details. Oh, we're good. Yep, we're gonna give you a refund. All good. And then I was like, why are you going to every facility? Why going to every facility? Like, you're gonna get delivered to me, not gonna be able to return it because there's no way to return it because you're gonna keep saying, oh no, you gotta do it this way, but I'm not gonna tell you the way to do it, the special way to do it, and I have to go to, not only is my mom gonna have to return it to the UPS drop off, which might do more because she's the one that has the car. I can't drive, I'm legally blind in one eye. So she got to do all that. She's gonna be pissed. And thankfully, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I was asleep. Thankfully, catching up on the sleep I didn't get the night before. 2 o'clock that next morning, they said, we're getting you the refund and we're going to give you a refund, and now they're going back to the seller. So it's package returned to seller. And it went to every single facility, and then mine. The one that's right next to my house, not right next to my house, the one that it gets shipped from there to gets delivered to my house, it was at that one. And I was like, phew. I mean, I feel bad for the people going to return that book. That's a lot of extra work for them, but thank God. And I was so relieved. That entire day, it was 2 days that it was just like worried because I was like, what the hell is going to happen with these books? It's gonna return. It's gonna do this and then that and then that again. Because it's not all me that has to do that. I thought it was so many different scenarios that are gonna happen. I was like, oh God. But thankfully, it returned. Now, that was why it's called So This Happened. Now let's get into the comic haul itself. Also, some of them were 3-day shipping, and I thought that one would be delayed, but didn't get delayed. And what's funny was that I thought when I thought I was going to get delayed, came in early today. And then the one from Amazon did not come in until 6 o'clock. It was like 6:30. And that was because, I understand it was because of Prime Day. It was yesterday and today. I get that. Makes sense, even though it wasn't 1-day shipping. So, how is that going to work? I don't know. Anyways, let's get on to them. So, I like to, usually I have kind of a theme. There's no real theme here except for one of them, which is an exception. They're all authors I like. I want to, at the very least, except for this one, I want to do all authors I like. And the one that it's by an author not an author I don't like, obviously not that, but by an author I don't know and like. I don't know, but I read the book I got, the series I got, I've read before. I'm not used to that author. You'll see what I mean when I get to. Basically, it means I've read the series. I got the the series itself. It's not by I didn't get because the author. I got it because of the series, basically. You'll see when I get to it. But first up is Robert Kirkman's Oblivion Song, specifically volumes 2 through 6. Yes, I have volume 1. I wanted to finish off this series for so long, and I kept flip-flopping. I was like, okay, I'll get the hardcovers, I'll wait till October 11th, or it's going to be Christmas at that point. Because I didn't even know we were going to do graduation money for me, from family, until like 2 weeks ago. And the party was Saturday. So I knew, like, pretty last minute. And it was mainly because we weren't even sure we were going to have it, with everything. And it was like, oh, okay, your sister didn't have it, so... But she still got the money. But she didn't have a party, so it was fair. Fair is fair. But we decided to have it. It was a small get-together anyways. It wasn't even a party. It was not even a party. It was like, they stayed for 2 hours and left. It was kind of lame. It was nice. It was... Honestly, it's one of those things that's proof. I don't care just about the money. I care about the people, too. Like, I don't want to just... It's one thing to give them money, just, like... That's boring. Yeah, it's money, awesome, but it's boring. I want an actual party. I'm not saying I wanted like a rip-roaring like teen comedy movie party. Obviously, I'm not gonna get that, but I like not that I'm disappointed. I'm just kind of like I feel like they would stay for longer, but I think they had stuff to do. And I don't blame them, obviously. I'm just kind of like it's one of those things that kind of makes sense to me. Like, oh, okay. I don't know if it's because some had to leave early, and it's one of those things where, oh, these people left, so now we're leaving. And then those people left, because now we're leaving. One of those things like a chain reaction. I don't know. But it's the point. Okay, so now let's get into it. I don't keep you distracted. I already did the second cut. It's always second cut. Actually, technically third. Alright, so Oblivion Songs 2 through 6. I was even explaining about the graduate... Oh, because I was... Yeah. Alright, so Volume 2, Oblivion Song Chapter 2... collects issues of 7 through 12 of Oblivion Song. It's 6 issues per volume, it seems to be. Now, Oblivion Song, I'm also going to go over what the book's about. It's like 200,000 people go missing. The government is like, oh, really concerned at one point, and they give up on them, and then they're like, yeah, who cares? They're in this Oblivion place, this weird place, but we're not going to get them out of there. And this one person is like, no, I'm getting them out of there. Step aside, I'm gonna go save the day. I mean, that's his goal anyways. And then that's Oblivion Song, so... I'm hope a lot more happens in that, and this is by Robert Kirkman, and Robert Kirkman, I think, is my favorite writer from Image. At least one of. Like, when I hear Robert Kirkman's name in an Image comic, I'm like, done. I read one issue of his Firepower. That's not all I've read, obviously. I read his Outcast, second time now, but I read his Outcast almost all the way through. For whatever reason, they're not saying, the library says, no, we don't have Volume 7. And the whole reason why I was rereading that series was to finally finish it, because I only got to about Volume 7, I didn't have Volume 8 at the time. I didn't know it was ongoing, I thought it was all done. And I read all of his Walking Dead, which I loved. His Walking Dead is amazing. It's like 200 issues, basically. Almost 200 issues. Yeah, after a while, it got kind of old. That was because it was 100 plus issues. But it was like, at that point, it was like 120, I think. Because, like, issue 100, my favorite issue was issue 100. Like, when Negan gets introduced. That's the peak of Walking Dead. And after that, it's like a peak of Walking Dead. It's really good. And I'd say around issue 120, when Robert Kirkman said, yeah, this has already ended. He can't see... You know when authors say, oh, my book ended here, or when, like Simpsons, they're like, oh, no, this ended here. That's kind of what Robert Kirkman did with Walking Dead. He still was a popular enough series, still making the big bucks, so he's like, yeah, I'll keep it going, but it kind of ended here. But we're going to keep going. And after that point, it got kind of old, but I still liked it. Oh, that was a bug. That should show you how blind I am. That door right there, I saw like the top of the door, and it was like, what's that bug? The way I saw it. That should show you how blind I am. All I saw was the top of it, like the shadow, and the black of it, the shadow. Alright, anyways. Chapter 3, collecting issues 13 to 18. Chapter 4, collects issues 19 to 24. Chapter 5 collects issues 25 to 30. And finally, Chapter 6 seems to be the thickest, probably because it's the last few issues, collects issues 31 to 36. Because it's only 36 issues, I can't imagine overseeing its welcome, like Walking Dead did. Oh, so also one thing I want to mention too, I got not a complaint, but I got I expect you to do this, but I suggest you do this. And it was a good enough one. It was looking at the camera. Now, I'm cross-eyed, so it might not look like looking at the camera, but I'm trying my best to look at it. What I'm doing is I'm looking at myself, like right here, I say myself right there. So I'm like, okay, I'm talking to kids, like I'm talking to myself, like say the camera, say the people inside the iPad, the people inside the iPad, so I'm looking at the people right there. That's what I do. I don't, because I look at the camera like that, like, this is me looking at the camera right now. Does it look any better than this? What looks better, this or this? I think it's them cross-eyed. I don't know. I'm not complaining, obviously. I'm just saying that's my story. And sometimes, yeah, I'll do like this. I'll be like, hey guys, so this is the comic book. No, I should be like this in the center, not right here. And a lot of that's like I get like, you know, I'm sure earlier I wasn't keeping track of it, but yeah. All right, next two is the last two. Not only is a writer I love, but it's also his last two image books that I needed, because it was the last two he had done. He's not done a whole lot of image books. The only one I don't have is when they had the libraries, Cold Spots by Cullen Bunn. I got Unearthed, Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Cullen Bunn, collecting all 10 issues. This is 1 through 5, this is 6 through 10. Flesh-eating virus, all I needed to know. I was like, okay. I read Contagion. It's not by Cullen Bunn, but it's by Ed Brisson. It was done by Marvel Comics, and I was like, I really liked Contagion. That was like an interesting story. I kind of like that kind of story. So I heard Cullen Bunn did that. I was like, sold. But for the longest time, I didn't get this book. They had Volume 1, and kind of angry about this. They had Volume 1 at my local comic book shop, Newbury Comics. I want to say at the most expensive, it was half off, at least half off, probably more. It was on sale for a pretty good price, but it was just Volume 1, to be fair. They didn't have Volume 2 at that point. Maybe it hadn't even come out at that point, I don't know. It's a relatively new series. It was 2020. When it started, I want to say. 2019, maybe. So around the same time as Contagion, which is kind of funny. And it was before COVID, or around COVID, like when it was first being introduced, but not before lockdown. Well, yes, before lockdown, but not after lockdown, during, you know. Anyways, so, yeah, longest time I didn't get that series, and that was because I got terrible reviews on Goodreads. I feel like I shouldn't really listen to Goodreads when it comes to Cullen Bunn, because every single book by him, that he done by Image, has bad reviews, and I'm really liking Cold Spots so far. So, I mean, really, really liking Cold Spots so far. Cullen Bunn is that writer that I think I've read one book by him I didn't like. And that was just because I feel like it was just 5 issues. I mean, I should have been as slow as it was. I don't know why it was a Holy Grail he did. I didn't really like that book. That one got really bad reviews on Goodreads. But Unearthed got pretty bad reviews on Goodreads. But so did Cold Spots. I like Cold Spots. I'm like, I'm getting Unearthed. And it was like, I need 2 more to finish off my Cullen Bunn Image Comics collection. And I'm getting a lot of Image Comics, so here's a TLDR. I did a whole video on it of why I'm getting so much Image Comics recently. Pretty much because I had so few at the beginning in May when I was getting I got so many. I was like, oh, I got like 41 of them. I think at that point, I don't know why. I think I just had gotten, it just so happened I was getting so many Image books in general. And then when I got the 41, it was 41. I think in total it was 61. So it was like 20 books that I had before. I had 20 Image Comics before I got the 41. That's pretty pathetic. So after that, it was kind of like, I want more Image books. And it's not one of those things like, and there's not a whole lot of sacrifice I had to make, honestly. And it's just with the trades, though. When I'm floppies, I like to get more than just Image. Like, if there's a series I want that's an ongoing in floppy form, I'll get that. But yeah, I've had to make some sacrifices for trades I wanted to get, but now I have to wait to get them. Not wait to get them. The only time, actually, I did make a sacrifice, I keep forgetting. I made a sacrifice to get The Boys, which is Dynamite Publishing. But I want to get that entire series. That was like $100+ bucks. That was quite fall. So, there's that. Okay. Next one up is the one that I mentioned before. It's not I didn't get it because of the author, I got it because of the series. But I didn't like this series the first time I read it. But that was a long time ago. And I want to say that was so long ago, that was when my dumb brain didn't like Mike Mignola. Yeah, that long ago. I did like Mike Mignola. Like sometimes, like I think of Past Me. I'm like, how do you sleep at night, Past Me? How did you not like these books? So I finally got. And why did I say Mike Mignola? Because Headlopper is Image Comics' answer to Mike Mignola. That's what a lot of the reviews were saying. And that was, I think, when I first read it, and it was maybe after, I want to say it was after I read Hellboy. And I was like, yeah, this is very Hellboy, yes, I didn't like Hellboy because I'm an idiot, Past Me is an idiot. And I said that in that voice, or said in the other voice, that doesn't make any sense. Because I knew this voice, I'm talking in my Past Me's voice. So how do you know? Anyways, volumes 1 through 4. Yeah, I'm a completist. Not really bad. Now, here's the thing that I don't like about this book. Not the actual book itself, not the writing, not the art. The art I kind of like was a bit skeptical on, but I like to. It's grown. Jesus, it was a super stutter. I've grown to it. It's honestly not as bad as I thought it was initially. It's just like it's different. It's this kind of artwork, you know, where it's a lot more cartoony. I disappoint. I don't know why I thought it was so bad. But this is Andrew McClellan. Or McLean? John McClane. I'm calling him Andrew McClane. I don't care if I'm spelling. I don't care if I'm pronouncing it right. John McClane. Get it? Cause Die Hard. So Andrew McClane, his brother. Anyways, now why did this book kind of annoy me? Well, it only collects 4 issues, and look how thick this book is. 4 issues. That's long issues. And all I really have to do is just go by chapter. Because it's just all issue 1, but they do chapters. Not all issue 1, obviously. But they do chapters. Like, chapters, let's say 1 through 5 is 1 issue. But I thought at first, when I was like, wait, why is this chapter 2? Because usually they will, instead of doing issue 1, where this is where issue 1 ends and issue 2 begin, or issue 1 starts and issue 2 begins, they'll just say chapter 1 instead of, and then that's just like in general for comics. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, Nice House on the Lake is book 1, but like Green Lantern is issue 1. It varies. Sometimes they want to make it sound more not inclusive, formal. So they say chapter 1 or book 1, not issue 1. I don't know why either. But yeah, that's what I thought initially when I was going through it. So I was like, why is issue 1 only 23 pages? They say in the Image Comics that it's 94 pages. That was because I was an idiot and I didn't realize, oh, maybe they go by chapter 1 because the issue 1 issues are so long. Because they're longer than, obviously, they're longer than your average comic book size. But I don't. For me, it's just because it's 4 issues. I don't care how long the issue is. That's still 4 issues. It's still at the most. If I read 1 per day, which I usually what I do, because I read so many comics, I want to read the whole. I want to read all one book all in one day. You know, I like to spread it out for many reasons. But mainly because I want to read more than just 1 book per day. And I'm gonna, you know what I mean. Like if I'm reading 4 issues of a series or 4 issues in general, I want to be different books. I want to read all in one. So I get, give everyone else a chance, I'm sharing, I guess. Anyway, so I still see it as 4 issues. That's going to take me 4 days to read per book, and that's. But I'm thinking of things as it's a library book. This isn't a library book. I own this now. I can go as slow as I want to go. Because I feel like with library books, I gotta read them at least 1 of them per day to finish them by the time I go next time. Because I'm going bi-weekly now, and I can only have them for a month. And kind of don't like to renew them, and some like I have to email them to renew because I can't do it on my account myself. Anyway, so that's why I think I'm still in that mentality for these books. I don't know why, but I'm still in that mentality for those books. And it's not like I'm not going to want to read the series. Like I just said, I've read that Contagion Ed Brisson Marvel series like 50 times. What's not to say I'm not going to want to read this one 50 times? So I'm going to get my money's worth. But I will give it this. If it was 10 issues and this thick of a book for $19.99, I would have been just like, that's awesome. This is a pretty thick book for $19.99. This will be $34.99 for Marvel. Maybe now, because they're inflation pricing, $40. Not even $39.99, just $40 in general. Because the $39.99, that makes it like you're getting a deal. you're only saving a penny. And everyone knows that by now. Oh, yeah, and Jeff Lemire, Jeff Darrow, which I think he did Selling Cowboy. I don't really know him. Jonathan Hickman, Scotty Young, and Rick Remender. So far, they're all like, hey, check out Headlopper. I know it's not the best thing to do because Jeff Lemire likes Coda. I didn't like Coda, so obviously I'm not going to like every book that an author that I really like recommends, but it's just one of those things that's like, hey, Scotty Young, I would love Scotty Young. He's a great author. Rick Remender, oh yeah, he's a great author. You like this book? Oh, I'm picking it up. It's when I'm always skeptical about buying a book in general, it makes it all the better. It's really weird, but I mean, hey, you probably bought books then. I think everyone understands that. Anyways, so they all collect issues. This one's pretty thin now. I think because the issue thin now. I think because issue 1 was so long, and none of them are 94 pages. So this one collects 5 through 8. Now it's $16.99. So that you'll see this. So remember this price right here. 4 issues, $16.99. 4 issues, $16.99. Pretty thick book. Remember that. Okay? Keep that in mind. Then we got... Wow, man, Fraction, that was good. I just, Family Tree. Ed Piscor. He didn't do... Oh, Hip Hop Family Tree. I'm thinking Family Tree by Jeff Lemire. I was like, he didn't do the artwork for that. It was Jeff Lemire. I just went 9 through 12, Volume 3. Ah, crap, I was called something different. Ah, shit. I like to go, like... Why am I doing that? I like to do, like, what the Volume 2, what the volume says. So this one is Headlopper Volume 1 in the Island of... And the Island of a Plague of Beasts. That's a lot of words. It's like of, or, if, and. So Headlopper and the Island of Island or a Plague of Beasts. See, it's not my fault that there's of. It's or. No, it's of here. Actually, no, or here. So this one's 1 through 4. So it's Headlopper Volume 1, Headlopper and the Islands of a Plague of Island of. Okay, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Headlopper in the Crimson Tower, Volume 2. Headlopper in the Crimson Tower, collecting 5 through 8. Then you got Headlopper, Volume 3. Headlopper and the Knights of Venora, collecting 9 through 12. And again, remember, $16.99, 4 issues, this thick. Again, remember that. It will come in handy. Actually, that one next. How about? Alright, this one's 13 through 16. And, yeah, I paid more for one. Because they're all $16.99, but Amazon decided to kind of rip me off and then sell it to me for $17.99. Shit. Should have known that. That's really scummy of Marvel. See, I have Marvel in the brain. It's really scummy of Amazon to do because sometimes they won't even show you the back of the book. They'll be like, yeah, just trust us. It's $17.99 is the list price. That's scummy. Alright, so remember when I said $16.99 for 4 issues. So then I got Coffin Bound by Dan Waters. And yeah, Volume 1, Happy Ashes. Thin book, 4 issues, $16.99. Now you guys know, those of you who've been watching my channel, and I already had to explain it, you guys already know I really like me some Image Comics. You know, the pricing, sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. I understand that this is only a 2-volume series, only 8 issues, so Volume 1 couldn't have been $9.99, but been $14. These both should have been $14.99. I mean, it's not a big deal. You know, it's whatever. At the end of the day, it's only 2 volumes. But one of those things. And Coffin Bound Volume 2 has that blemish I hate. Very small, but it's like I always think that blemish when I open the book, that's gonna make the book fall apart. Even though you don't open the book that high. Even though you don't open the book that far, anyways. So why did I get Coffin Bound, even though it got bad reviews on Goodreads? Well, number 1, Goodreads is Goodreads. I think again, I was like, oh yeah, you're talking about a book, yep, I'm not in focus at all. So, Coffin Bound, Coffin Bound it's done by Dan Waters, and Dan Waters horror. I was like, yeah, I'll get it, why not? And with this, and might as well just show it, Limbo, that was all I needed to get from Dan Waters. And yet again, like with Cullen Bunn, the only one I don't have that he did for Image, I'll be getting at the library, and it's in transit now, which is nice. Scratching the outside of my nose. The inside, not gross. You're gross. So yeah, issues 1 through 4, and 4 through 8. Now this one is Limbo. This one's 4 issues, and $14.99 and thicker. But this is a mini-series. I want to look at the artwork in this one, too. I didn't get to look at the artwork. I mean, I knew it was gonna... I never, like... Yeah, it looks really good. They said it was like a neo-noir. Yeah, see? The complete neo-noir miniseries. It looks pretty interesting. It's a horror book. It was like, if I have his other horror shit, when I get all of his horror books, Coffin Bound artwork looks pretty good. Coffin Bound, they said it's like Sandman meets Mad Max. Neither of which, I haven't seen Mad Max yet, and Sandman, you guys know how I feel about Sandman, but hopefully I'll like it. But anyways, those are the Dan Waters ones. Now the final 3, already at the final 3, is series that I should not have been interested in getting at all. Because even though it's by an author I like, they're saying it's a lot like his fantasy. They're saying it's a lot like his Dungeons and Dragons, which I only kind of liked. And they also said it's The Hangover meets The Hobbit. And I was like, no. Then they said, oh, it's a comedy. And I'm like, it's gonna be Rat Queens. It's gonna be Rat Queens level of comedy, isn't it? And I hate it. I hope not. I can't say for sure. This is not me saying, oh, I actually really liked it. No, I can't say for sure. But this is Skull Kickers by Jim Zub. Now, Jim Zub, I really like his writing. I love his Wayward so far. And his Dungeons and Dragons, I do like. I just don't love it. I think it's because I thought it was going to be, I guess I always thought it was going to, back in my head, that was going to be as good as his Wayward. And the Dungeons and Dragons was going to be just as good as I thought it was going to be. It was going to, like really flow together well. I think the one thing I was missing in the fantasy books I've been reading recently, because I've been reading a lot of fantasy books recently, is comedy. I feel like a lot of the fantasy books I've been reading is just like so melodramatic. It's so like not melodramatic, but it's like I feel like comedy is what's missing. Even though I don't think it's all it's missing. I think it's an actual good story because some men just don't like. But and Coda, it was kind of an eye opener for me. Why I didn't like Coda too much? The comedy was really spot on. Like I actually kind of I laughed. But the thing about comedy in comics is that you can't. It's hard to do. It's very, very hard to do comedy in a comic book. In a movie, it's different. But when they said it was The Hangover meets The Hobbit, at first I was like, no. But that was because I was looking for any reason to not get a book, and I'm going to get these books instead. But I still want to get these books kind of sort. It's Jim Zub. I like Jim Zub, so I'm going to do the same. And it was and then those books I didn't get. There was a whole, it was a huge set of books I thought was going to get that much money for them, so I would be able to get them all, because it was all by, the same, it was one of those things where it was, all by the same author, and then I got some, it was when Oblivion Song was in that pile, too, but it was, some books by this author, but it was a lot of books by that author, because they had a lot for Image, it was one of those kind of things. No, it was not Robert Kirkman, it was Jeff Lemire. I may as well just say it. I already said Brian Wood, but it was Jeff Lemire, so I was going to get all of his Image work. But so many of that, they have the library. And I'm like, I might just get the library. And then I might try and start doing is, if they have 2 out of the 3 volumes at my local library, and I know they have them, like G-Milks is the one I know they'll have. There's 2 now. There's G-Milks, and then there's ILL. ILL, if you don't have that, book 1, that one next to the book, that in parentheses, it's a huge-ass gamble. But G-Milks, you know it's going to be there. I've had only one instance where it wasn't there, and it was because the library didn't have it in general. The library lost the book. That's what it was. So I don't have it. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get the series, and then the third book I'll get somewhere else, like Kindle or whatever. Get the cheapest option I can get it at. But now let's get into what Skull Kickers collect. So I've been prattling on enough about unnecessary stuff. Now this is not an oversized hardcover. It's just, well, it is, but it isn't. I thought this would be as big as a deluxe edition. You know, the low book ones with the fall. Yeah, it's a problem with having books like this. But that's what I thought it would be, but it wasn't. And when you're paying $34.99 for 11 issues, and it's like, that's kind of a price that Marvel would offer. And I think Thor was also an oversized hardcover, so... But now, Skull Kickers Volume 3 or Volume 1, whatever it was, is now $38. $4 more expensive. I only had to pay $1 extra for Headlopper Volume 4. Who cares about that? If I had to pay $4 extra for Skull Kickers, yeah, I would have been even more annoyed. It's kind of funny how that happened, because Unearthed increased in price after I bought it. I think Limbo didn't. I think Coffin Bound would. It was enough to where I was like, it was more than 2. Maybe it was just 2. I don't know. Let's go over what it collects. 11 issues per, I think. But it doesn't add up, because it's 34 issues, so it must be like... No, I did Volume 3 before Volume... I had to do it backwards, and I'm stacking them all, so when I put them on the shelf, it's in order. So, Skull Kickers Volume 1, first 11 issues. Now, there's a crossover with a kid book. Yeah, I know. Oh, and the third reason why I was kind of skeptical? 13 and up. Now, most of the books I have, I was always skeptical enough when one of the books I wanted was teen plus. And teen plus, to be fair, I thought teen plus meant teen and up. But no, that means 16 and up. I don't know why I don't just say, like, why does this image have so many different things? I don't know why. Because I don't think they have an all ages one. That was a thing too. I think this is their way of saying it's all ages, but the recommended is teen. Like, it's a PG-13 movie, but it's only for the violence. Pretty much, I think. Oh, crap. Pretty much, I think. Okay. That was... It's the first time you texted me about that. I'm almost done, which is good. But I'm going to keep it down. So 1 through 11 here. So yeah, they have a kiddie book. It's called Princeless. And there's a Skull Kickers crossover with a kid book. Like a Wimpy Kid levels of Kitty. So it was like, so it was even more. I was like, is that actually for kids? I know that's not. I know it's stupid to think that. Like, oh, you're not gonna get a book just because it's for kids. That's stupid. But it's like, it's all. I don't know. But I think they said it's bloody, so at least there's that. They're not gonna skimp down the violence. That was my main concern. It looks good. The artwork is exceptional, honestly. It's the same kind of artwork he did for Dungeons and Dragons. It seems to be, even though Jim Zub doesn't do artwork. It's Stevens, Huang, and Coates. These guys, not that Coates. The Coates, the actual Coates Waves Fun Coates, not Coates, not Coates Ta-Nehisi. Ooh, if I saw Ta-Nehisi Coates' name on this book, I wouldn't have gotten it. It's not Ta-Nehisi Coates, is it? Oh my god, a lot of artwork. A lot of artists and map corner. A lot of, yeah, Jim Step did the graphic design, though. But a lot of, credits. This one collects, and it collects, like, bonus material, too, but doesn't say anything, like, yeah, 12 to 23. It's still 12 issues. So maybe, I don't know. But Tracy Hickman said it was good. Is she married to Jonathan Hickman? Or at least, like, daughter related somehow? I don't know. Answer that in the comments. Say Archie Comics. No. Yeah. And then Skull Kickers Volume 3. This is Treasure Trove. This is the hardcover versions. Collects the final 11 issues. Oh, it's 12, I see. So it's 24 to 34. Makes sense. It was issue 100 with 34. Gail Simone said it was good, and John Layman said it was good. That was the main thing. So also what happened was I got volume 1 and volume 3 before I got volume 2 of Skull Kickers. And I didn't get volume 1 until today for Headlocker. I got volumes 2, 3, and 4 yesterday. No, it was 2 and 4 yesterday. And I got 1 through today. That's the other thing about Amazon. It's weird. But that, as they say, is that. 17 books. I made up pretty well. I would say so myself. I gotta put these back on my shelf, make a bunch of noise. Great. I'm gonna get a domestic disturbance call. Not an actual one, but, you know. Why doing this? Doing that? Look at the camera. I don't know why I do that. I'm kind of like trying to do like a laid back kind of thing, I guess. I don't know. It looks weird. 40 minutes. Talking about 17 books and a pretty big story going along with it. But that, as I say, is that. I'm still happy. Oh my God, though. At the end of the day.